It's all right. Let's just see how global things are not looking so great in the Middle East. Investors rushed to safe haven assets on Friday after Israel launched a series of airstrikes on Iran, escalating tensions in the Middle East. The attacks reportedly targeted Iran's nuclear sites. Markets reacted swiftly, with investors seeking safety in gold and other stable assets. Gold prices jumped to nearly a two-month high, while analysts are warning of broader volatility and risk of regional conflict. Spot gold was up 1.1% at $3,420.24, while gold futures for August rose 1.3% in early trading. Meanwhile, U.S. Treasury yields dipped on Friday as investors rushed to safer assets following Israeli airstrikes on Iran. The benchmark 10-year yield fell to 4.33% in early trading. The market reaction came after Israel struck sites linked to Iran's nuclear program. Investors are now watching for more fallout, with U.S. consumer sentiment data also expected later today. Analysts say bond yields may remain volatile as the geopolitical tension unfolds. Staying in the U.S., President Trump called Fed Chair Jerome Powell a numbskull on Thursday, urging a 2-point rate cut to save the U.S. $600 billion annually. He said inflation is low and warned, "I may have to force something." Now, Commerce Secretary Lutnick and Vice President J.D. Vance also criticized Powell, saying the Fed is ignoring clear signals to cut rates. The comments came after weak U.S. producer price data eased inflation fears. Markets were steady, with no rate cut expected next week. However, traders now see a 76% chance of a cut in September, up from 69% the day before. Now let's go to the EU. Germany's economy is now expected to grow by 0.3% in 2025, up from an earlier forecast of 0.1%, according to DIW Berlin. The upgrade follows stronger than expected Q1 growth of 0.4%, marking a rebound after 2 years of economic decline. DIW says momentum should continue later this year, supported by a government investment package aimed at boosting recovery. Now, Sweden's inflation rose to 2.3% in May, hitting the central bank's target, according to data from the National Statistics Agency. Prices were up 0.1% from April, while the CPIF, the key measure used by the Riksbank, also rose 2.3% from a year earlier, in line with forecasts. The data gives Sweden's central bank more clarity as it weighs possible changes to interest rates in the months ahead. Now let's see Slovakia. The annual inflation edged up to 4.1% in May, with monthly consumer prices rising 0.5%. Core inflation stood at 3.3% year-on-year, in line with expectations. Higher service and food costs were key drivers, with food and beverages up 1.3% from April. Meanwhile, fuel prices fell 8% year-on-year, helping offset some inflationary pressure. Housing, restaurants, and cultural services also pushed the inflation rate higher, each contributing noticeably to the year-on-year increase. Now let's see how Tesla is doing. It has upgraded its Model S and X vehicles in the U.S. and raised prices by $5,000 across all versions. The Model S now starts at $84,990, with the Plaid variant priced at $99,990. The Model X begins at $89,990, while its Plaid version costs $104,999 to be precise. Now, the company shared the update via social media and its website, though specific upgrade details were not disclosed. Now, speaking of tech and cars and vehicles, Apple's iPhone was the best-selling smartphone in China in May, according to new data from Counterpoint Research. The tech giant also saw global iPhone sales rise 15% year-on-year in April and May, its strongest 2-point stretch since the pandemic. Now, growth was fueled by gains in the U.S. and China, Apple's biggest markets, along with double-digit sales boost in Japan, India, and the Middle East. To stay ahead in China's competitive market, Apple slashed prices on its iPhone 16 models, with some discounts reaching over $350 on local e-commerce platforms. Now, India is stepping up efforts to develop its rare earth industry after China's export curbs disrupted global supply chains. The government plans to scale up production through state-owned India Rare Earth and private sector support. With the world's third-largest reserves, experts say India could become a key alternative to China. but major investments in mining and processing are still needed. Meanwhile, India is negotiating import approvals with China, and local automakers are preparing to visit the country to secure rare earth magnet supplies. A lot is going on now. So India is very now trying to eye the market. China is restricting.
It looks more like India is stepping in to become an alternative.
Yes. You see iPhone going to India, leaving China. So India may very well take over in the next.
But guess what?
Manufacturing.
China is also being very strategic. I don't know if you saw the news where no more tariffs for African countries, between African countries and China.
Oh my God, I missed that. So
if US is going to India, then China is coming to Africa, and it's just opportunities.
So it's just like opportunity, looking for alternatives and see how, now if African governments will make it work for Africa, not just make it work for just China, it will benefit us as well as benefit them. So it's a win-win and not just, the usual we have here.
I guess.